Headlines of this hour on VTV News. 254 reported dead from Typhoon Yagi, floods and landslides. Later on, top Vietnamese leaders' message at the Summit of Future Global Call event. And in a world news, North Korea discloses uranium enrichment facility for the first time.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Good morning. It is currently 8 a.m. local time and you're tuning in to 30 minutes of VTV News. I'm Dylan Lei with the latest update. Now, Typhoon Yagi and the floods and landslides in the aftermath have killed 254 people, while 82 remain missing as of Thursday afternoon. The data was revealed by the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development's Vietnam Disaster and Dike Management Authority. Lao Cai Province has suffered the greatest loss, with 111 fatalities and 61 people missing. Yên Bai follows with 49 dead and 1 missing, while Cao Bang has reported 43 deaths and 9 missing individuals. The full extent of the damage is still unknown. Relief efforts are urgently ongoing to support those affected by these storms and floods. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính on Thursday held a meeting with various ministries, agencies, and the province of Lao Cai at the Bảo Yên District People's Committee office to address the aftermath of a devastating landslide in Nu Village, Lao Cai Province. The disaster resulted in nearly 100 people dead or missing in the village, 180 total in the province, making Lao Cai the hardest hit area. The Prime Minister expressed deep condolences on behalf of Party General Secretary and State President Tô Lâm and other party and state leaders. During the meeting, he outlined 4 key goals. First, ensuring no one lacks food, clothing, shelter, or clean water. Second, quickly stabilizing the situation. Third, restoring agricultural, industrial, and service sectors to create jobs. Fourth, maintaining public order. He stressed the need to locate missing individuals, treat the injured, and assist families of the deceased. The Prime Minister also instructed authorities to clean up the environment, repair essential infrastructure, and restore services such as education and healthcare. World leaders have extended condolences to Vietnam following Typhoon Yagi's devastation over the past few days. Chinese Premier Li Qiang expressed his deepest sympathy and earnest regards to the people in affected areas. He also expressed his belief that people would soon regain their daily lives and resume production under the leadership of the party and government of Vietnam. The Central Committee of the Cambodian People's Party expressed hope and belief that the Vietnamese people will soon overcome challenges and devastating losses. First Secretary of the Communist Party of Cuba Central Committee and Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel has extended his deepest condolences to the party, government, and people of Vietnam, holding that Cuba is committed to supporting Vietnam during this difficult time. Chair of the United Russia Party and Deputy Chairman of the Security Council of Russia, Dmitry Medvedev, expressed his condolences to the families of the victims. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol expressed sympathy for the Vietnamese people and wished that Vietnam would soon overcome the typhoon's aftermath. Japanese Prime Minister Kishida Fumio expressed his profound condolences to the families affected by the typhoon, stressing that the Vietnamese government stands shoulder to shoulder with Vietnam during this challenging time. French President Emmanuel Macron has affirmed France's solidarity with Vietnam and pledged readiness to support its relief efforts. In addition, the President of Kazakhstan, Mongolia, Mozambique, Nicaragua, Palestine, the chair of the Executive Committee of Palestine Liberation Organization, Finland, Turkey, and UNESCO also sent letters and telegrams of condolence over Typhoon Yagi's severe impacts on the country and people of Vietnam. Faced with the catastrophic consequences of Typhoon Yagi, and in addition to the efforts of the entire political system and population, Vietnam has received timely support from countries, international partners, and organizations. This support has contributed to helping Vietnam overcome the typhoon's consequences.
Australia, the United States, Japan, and South Korea were the first countries to announce support for Vietnam. Within 48 hours, the first international aid shipment, worth 50,000 Australian dollars, arrived in Hanoi from Australia and was promptly distributed to areas severely affected by Typhoon Yagi.
So the initial assistance came in the form of $50,000 worth of emergency equipment, which came quite quickly. Another $950,000 worth will be channeled through the United Nations organisations. And then another 2 million Australian dollars will go through non-government organisations that have good partnerships in Vietnam already.
Meanwhile, UNICEF has quickly mobilized $3.4 million USD for relief operations and is continuing to raise an additional $15 million USD to implement a multi-sectoral response plan to support children.
UNICEF stands with the people and the government of Vietnam in those tragic times. We are at their side to help with children and affected communities access to basic social services. We also have water tanks that can go to schools or communities, child protection kits for displaced families, but also we can provide supplies to schools that have been destroyed.
On September 13th, the UNDP provided 700 kits of essential supplies to assist people in Lao Cai and Yên Bai provinces.
We also need to think in the longer term, in the medium term, about our early recovery efforts. That includes livelihood support, but it also includes ensuring access to healthcare, access to education for those children that are outside of school, as well as some of the psychosocial support.
The relief shipments arrived on time, and the goods were suitable. The next step is to rebuild and recover from the disaster.
International support demonstrates the spirit of solidarity and deep friendship between Vietnam and international friends.
In response to the devastating flash flood that struck Nu village in Lao Cai province, resulting in 95 deaths and numerous missing individuals, VTV's Vietnamese Heart Fund is stepping in to aid the community's recovery. Following Prime Minister Pham Minh Ching's recent inspection of the flood's aftermath, the fund has proposed and received preliminary approval from the People's Committee of Lao Cai province to support reconstruction efforts in Nu village. The Vietnamese Heart Fund will collaborate with local authorities to rebuild and construct homes for all 37 affected households in the village newly planned area. Additionally, the project will include the development of auxiliary facilities such as a community house and clean water supply systems. The goal is to help residents recover from their losses and stabilize their lives as soon as possible, with all work expected to be completed by December 31st this year, as per the Prime Minister's directive. As soon as the water receded, Inwang City in Inwang Province mobilized all available military, police, self-defense forces, local forces, and youth union members to clean the city and rapidly prevent the outbreak of disease. The aim is to clean all the streets within 3 days, ensuring that waste does not pollute or disrupt residents' lives. In addition to cleaning efforts, the province is prioritizing the disinfection of public spaces, focusing on schools, and is working to replace equipment lost or damaged by the flooding so that students can return to school as soon as possible. Following Typhoon Yagi, Giang Province experienced heavy rain, flooding, rising river water levels, and breached dikes. In response, the province mobilized maximum manpower and resources to address the typhoon's aftermath.
The military and police in Hai Dun Province have consistently supported its flood response efforts. Thousands of army, police, and local militia personnel have been deployed to vulnerable areas to assist flood prevention efforts and help the province relocate 4,500 households and their property to safer locations. The recent floods have caused more than 350 dike breaches across Hai Dun Province. Prolonged submersion of dikes in several areas has led to saturated soil, increasing the risk of landslides and flooding. However, following the 4-on-the-spot strategy, the province has mobilized emergency response teams and residents to address and monitor the dike and canal systems.
Once we hear of a potential dike incident, we call on all residents to help with consolidating the dike, including shoveling, stuffing soil in sacks, transporting the sacks, and cutting logs.
The water levels in the province's main rivers and the Bakheng Hai irrigation system have receded. They remain high. The province has directed local authorities to closely monitor flood conditions, maintain patrols along the dikes, and promptly detect and address any damage to the dikes, embankments, or sluice gates.
Coming up next on VTV News. Politburo comments on Haiphong development plan establish Phie as central-run city. And later on, top Vietnamese leaders' message at the Summit of Future Global Call event. Now, moving on to other important updates. On Friday, General Secretary and State President Tô Lâm chaired a Politburo meeting to discuss reviewing 5 years of implementing Resolution number 45 of the 12th Politburo on building and developing Haiphong City until 2030, with a vision to 2045 and the project to establish Phie as a centrally administered city.
General Secretary and State President Tô Lâm emphasized the need to continue effectively implementing Resolution number 45 of the 12th Politburo on building and developing Haiphong City until 2030, with a vision to 2045. This should be done in conjunction with Resolution number 30 of the Politburo on socio-economic development and ensuring national defense and security in the Red River Delta. He also highlighted the importance of studying and promulgating breakthrough mechanisms and policies. Additionally, he suggested promoting the development of economic zones and industrial parks, constructing synchronous and modern socioeconomic infrastructure, modernizing urban areas, developing culture alongside economic growth, ensuring national defense and security, enhancing the leadership capacity of party committees at all levels, and building a clean, strong, and effective political system. The Politburo also discussed and largely agreed to establish Phie as a centrally administered city. The General Secretary and State President called for the urgent development of a detailed plan. This includes improving the quality of life for residents, ensuring urban quality, developing a roadmap for restructuring administrative functions, managing public assets economically and in accordance with regulations, and preventing loss and waste. He envisioned Phie as a central hub for the region, becoming a major and unique center for culture, tourism, science and technology, specialized healthcare, and high-quality education and training across multiple disciplines.
Party General Secretary and State President Tô Lâm spoke on September the 12th, New York time, in a video message to the Global Call event in New York ahead of the Summit of the Future. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz and President of Namibia, Nangolo Mbumba, invited him to attend the event.
In his message, General Secretary and State President Tô Lâm emphasized that the future summit presents a great opportunity for the United Nations and multilateralism to reaffirm their irreplaceable values in the face of today's tremendous challenges. He urged the summit to focus on finding transformative solutions in science, technology, innovation, green transformation, and global governance transformation.
We look forward to the summit with confidence and high aspirations for a peaceful, prosperous, and beautiful world where people are at the heart of policies and actions. We hope this historic summit will bring about new thinking and new modus operandi for the world's future. Vietnam will actively contribute to the summit and our collective efforts to strengthen peace, cooperation, and international solidarity to effectively implement the Sustainable Development Goals. We will relentlessly strive to ensure that people fully enjoy development achievements and that future generations are well prepared for their paths ahead.
The senior-ranking leader stressed the leading role of the United Nations in establishing legal frameworks for information sharing and assisting countries in safely and securely developing groundbreaking technologies. he proposed the establishment of a global green technology platform. He noted that the United Nations and multilateral financial institutions must be strengthened to address current and future challenges effectively and mobilize critical resources to support developing countries.
On the afternoon of September 13th, General Secretary and State President Theo received Indonesian President-elect Prabowo Subianto, who is on a working visit to Vietnam. During the meeting, General Secretary and State President Theo welcomed President-elect Prabowo Subianto to Vietnam. They expressed their respect for the Vietnam-Indonesia strategic partnership. He praised Indonesia's achievements, highlighting its status as the largest economy in Southeast Asia, one of the fastest-growing digital markets in the world, and its many innovative initiatives. He also commended Indonesia's active contributions to regional and global peace and cooperation. President-elect Prabowo Subianto expressed his pleasure at visiting Vietnam for the first time since his official visit as Minister of Defense in 2022. He congratulated Vietnam on its significant economic development achievements and enhanced position on the international stage. Additionally, President-elect Prabowo Subianto conveyed his deep sympathy for the loss and damage caused by Typhoon Yagi in Vietnam and affirmed Indonesia's continued commitment to its traditional friendship and cooperation with Vietnam, its only strategic partner in ASEAN. Vietnam and Laos issued a joint statement following the state visit to Vietnam by General Secretary of the Lao People's Revolutionary Party, LPRP Central Committee, and President of Laos Thongloun Sisoulith from September the 10th to the 13th, which was made at the invitation of his Vietnamese counterpart, Theo.
At the talks and meetings, the two sides reaffirmed the great friendship, special solidarity, and comprehensive cooperation between Vietnam and Laos. They highlighted the solidarity and mutual assistance between the two parties and countries are an objective necessity, a historical rule, and one of the greatest sources of strength with vital significance to the revolutionary cause, the fatherland's construction and protection of the two parties and countries. The leaders declared their commitment to continuing the glorious historical tradition of both nations, together preserving, protecting, and continuously nurturing the special relationship and comprehensive cooperation between Vietnam and Laos, making it increasingly intensive, practical, and effective for the benefit of the people of each country, as well as for peace, stability, and development of the region and the world over. The two sides agreed to deepen political relations, strengthen mutual understanding and trust, and maintain high-level visits and exchanges. They will enhance information sharing on strategic issues and promote education about the Vietnam-Laos special relationship and the Vietnam-Laos-Cambodia ties, particularly among the youth. The leaders agreed to enhance economic, cultural, and scientific cooperation by leveraging each country's strengths. They emphasized improving connectivity in institutions, infrastructure, transportation, telecommunications, and tourism to support long-term development and integration among Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. Both nations will collaborate to address challenges and advance key mutual projects. The leaders agreed to maintain effective information exchange and assessments on international situations, protect each other's legitimate interests in accordance with international law, including issues related to the East Sea and the sustainable use of the Mekong River's water resources. The two countries will consult with, coordinate closely, and support each other effectively in international and regional issues as well as activities at multilateral forums.
During his state visit to Vietnam, Thongloun Sisoulith, the General Secretary and President of Laos, met with the Secretary of the Ho Chi Minh City Party Committee and former state leaders. Secretary of the Ho Chi Minh City Party Committee Nguyễn Văn Nên reaffirmed the city's commitment to implementing high-level agreements between Vietnam and Laos. He highlighted the focus on enhancing trade, tourism, investment, agriculture, human resource training, and cultural exchange cooperation. General Secretary and President of Laos Thongloun Sisoulith pledged to closely coordinate with Ho Chi Minh City to advance cooperation in these key areas. General Secretary and President of Laos also met with former Presidents Nguyễn Minh Chiết and Trương Tấn Sang, expressing gratitude for their contributions to the Vietnam-Laos relationship and affirmed Laos' continued support of the special relationship between Vietnam and Laos. Before departing, General Secretary and President of Laos Thongloun Sisoulith visited the Nha Rong Wharf relic before departing for Ho Chi Minh City on Thursday morning, and later sent a thank you letter to Vietnamese leaders for their hospitality. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính received the U.S. ASEAN Business Council USABC delegation on Friday. During the meeting, the USABC presidents praised Vietnam's role in building a united, resilient, and prosperous ASEAN community. They also conveyed their sympathies and pledged support to help Vietnam recover from Typhoon Yagi and resulting floods in the northern provinces. The Prime Minister expressed gratitude for the USABC's concerns and their vital contributions to the region's development. Looking ahead, the Prime Minister outlined 5 key areas for collaboration between the Council, the ASEAN government, and the public. First, collaborate in developing institutions and policies and refining legal frameworks. Second, connecting strategic infrastructure, including transportation, energy, healthcare, and education systems, as well as digitalization and innovation. Third, promoting new growth drivers such as digital transformation, green transition, circular economy, artificial intelligence, and cloud computing. Fourth, developing high-quality human resources to enhance the region's competitiveness on the global stage. Fifth, enhancing business management to reduce costs, save time, and increase competitiveness and operational efficiency. Coming up next in our world news, Thailand speeds up flood relief efforts. And later on, North Korea discloses uranium enrichment facility for the first time. Now moving on to our world news, manpower, equipment, and relief supplies from various sources have been arriving in Giang Province, Thailand, to help flood victims. Many remain stranded in their homes by the worst flooding for 3 decades. The border district of Mae Sai is suffering the worst flooding, with 8,000 hectares underwater. The area also experienced disruption to traffic and school closures. A SEAL team has been sent to Mae Sai district by the Royal Thai Navy to join local rescue teams and private volunteers in finding flood victims. The Ministry of Social Development and Human Security has set up 4 temporary shelters in Mae Sai district, which can accommodate as many as 160 people. According to the Korean Central News Agency KCNA, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un called for increased production of weapons-grade nuclear materials during his visit to the Nuclear Weapons Institute and the weapons-grade nuclear materials production site. This is the first time North Korea has disclosed the existence of a uranium enrichment facility. During his visit, the North Korean leader examined the production process of nuclear warheads and materials. He also mentioned a plan that will exponentially increase the number of nuclear weapons for self-defense and nuclear-powered offense. The European Central Bank, or ECB, cut interest rates again on Thursday as part of a declining path for borrowing costs. The decision came as inflation closed up on its 2% target, and economic growth in the Eurozone plunged. Following a similar cut in June, the ECB lowered its deposit rate from 3.75% to 3.5%. ECB President Christine Lagarde told a press conference that inflation is no longer a pressing matter and budget loss is now an emerging issue. She urged all countries in the Eurozone to take measures to prevent budget loss, reduce public spending, and increase revenues. Spain is the world's largest producer of olive oil, accounting for up to half of the global output in recent years, 80% of that from Andalusia. Spanish farmers are now leveraging this abundant source to creative climate-resilient energy alternatives. Take a look.
Farmer David Jimenez Zamora barely flinched when gas and electricity prices in Spain soared. he kept heating the covered pool in the 18th century farmhouse and the hot water running for as many as 26 guests at once without getting soaring energy bills. His secret is olive stones.
We produce olive oil, and we convert the olive stones in biomass, which we use to heat up the swimming pool and the underfloor heating system.
Olive stones also power the machines producing Spain's liquid gold olive oil. Using stones as biomass isn't new in olive-producing countries like Spain and Italy. However, Europe's decarbonization push and the olive oil industry's struggles in recent years, with fluctuating prices, have sparked renewed interest in getting maximum value out of the crop.
We reuse the olive stones and now we use it as a combustible, which means we don't need LNG from another country, or diesel or fuel.
Spain's olive oil industry is also a natural ally for companies like Repsol and Cepsa, which are investing heavily to boost capacity to turn organic waste into biofuels. The use of pits to fuel boilers in homes and small enterprises, mills, and even flights in Spain's olive-growing heartland shows the role the industry and the country's vast agricultural sector can play in helping decarbonize hard-to-electrify sectors, like aviation.
Up next, let's have a look at the weather forecast for Vietnam and other locations in the world. And that is all that we have for this hour on VTV News. To rewatch our program, you can visit our website or YouTube channel or download a mobile app VTVgo for more. Thank you for watching, and goodbye for now.